The state legislature. A state government has three organs: the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. The Constitution of India clearly defines the structure, powers, and functions of each organ of the state government. When elections are held in a state, people elect representatives who form the state legislative assembly or the Vidhan Sabha. It is the main body that makes laws in a state. In some states of India, apart from the Vidhan Sabha, there is another house of legislature. This is called the Vidhan Parishad. States which have only one legislative body is called unicameral, while states that have both the Vidhan Sabha and the Vidhan Parishad are called bicameral. Maharashtra, Karnataka, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir and Andhra Pradesh have bicameral legislatures. Composition of a state legislature. The Legislative Assembly, Vidhan Sabha. The members of the Legislative Assembly are elected directly by the people through elections. The number of members in the legislative assemblies of each state varies depending on the population of the state. Each state is divided into areas called constituencies, and from each constituency, one representative is elected. The minimum number of members of a legislative assembly should not be less than 60, and the maximum number of members should not be more than 500. After elections, the party gaining majority of votes forms the government while other parties form the opposition. Sometimes coalition governments are also formed when no single party wins the required number of seats and two or more parties come together to form the government. Sometimes members of the Anglo-Indian community are nominated to the Legislative Assembly if it does not have enough representation in the assembly. A member of a state legislative assembly is called an MLA, member of the Legislative Assembly. The Legislative Council, Vidhan Parishad. The members of the State Legislative Council or the Vidhan Parishad are not directly elected by the people but are elected in the following manner. 1/3 members are elected by the Legislative Assembly. 1/3 members are elected by the members of the local bodies. 1/12 members are elected by teachers who have taught in secondary schools in the state, and another 1/12 by graduates from universities in India who have graduated with at least 3 years standing. 1/6 members distinguished in the field of art, literature and science are nominated by the government of the state. A member of the State Legislative Council is called the MLC, member of the Legislative Council. The total number of members in a Vidhan Parishad should be 1/3 of the total number of members in the Vidhan Sabha. A Vidhan Parishad cannot have less than 40 members. However, the Vidhan Parishad of Jammu and Kashmir has only 36 members. Qualifications required for the membership of state legislatures. To become a member of the Legislative Assembly or the Legislative Council, a person should have the following qualifications. He or she must be a citizen of India. He or she must be at least 25 years of age for getting elected to the Vidhan Sabha and 30 years for the Vidhan Parishad. He or she must be a registered voter in that state. He or she must not hold any office of profit under the government. He or she must not be mentally unsound or have been proclaimed a criminal by the laws of the state. Tenure of the state legislatures. The Vidhan Sabha is elected for a period of 5 years. However, under certain special circumstances, the governor might dissolve the assembly before 5 years. The Vidhan Parishad is a permanent house and it can never be dissolved. Members are elected for a period of 6 years. 1/3 of the members retire after every 2 years, and only these positions are filled through new elections. Functions of the state legislature. The state legislatures look after the administration of a state and ensure welfare of the people living in the state. The most important function of the state legislature is to make laws. In India, the constitution has demarcated subjects on which the central or the state governments can make laws into the union list, the state list, and the concurrent list. The state list contains subjects on which only the state government can make laws. Sometimes, the state governments also make laws on subjects mentioned in the concurrent list. The state government takes decisions about the finances of the state and decides on the amount of money to be collected from people as taxes. The members of the state legislature also have certain electoral powers. Members of the Vidhan Sabha are part of the electoral college and participate in the election of the president of the country. They elect members of the Rajya Sabha and 1/3 members of the Legislative Council. The Speaker. The members of the Vidhan Sabha elect a Speaker and a Deputy Speaker who look after the proceedings of the Assembly and also ensure that the discipline in the House is maintained. The proceedings of the Vidhan Parishad are conducted by the chairman, who is elected by the members. He or she presides over meetings and maintains discipline and order in the House. In his or her absence, the deputy chairman takes over his or her responsibilities. How are laws made? The process of making laws is long and complicated. A law is presented before a state legislature in the form of a bill. There are two kinds of bills. Ordinary bills deal with general administrative issues. Money bills deal with some form of expenditure, imposition of new taxes, or abolition of existing taxes. Ordinary bills can be introduced in the Legislative Assembly or the Legislative Council. A bill is introduced in the form of a draft in the legislature. The minister asks for permission from the Speaker or Chairman of the House to introduce the bill. This is called the first reading of the bill. At this stage, generally only the title of the bill is read out. In the second reading, a general discussion takes place on the bill. The House can send the bill to a select committee of the House or a joint committee of both the Houses for further discussion. In some cases, the bill is even circulated among the people to understand public opinion. After the bill comes back to the House, it is discussed in greater detail, clause by clause. The third reading happens only if the bill has passed through the first two stages. After the third reading, the bill is sent to the other house if the state is bicameral. In the other house again, the same process is followed, and if passed, the bill is sent to the governor for approval. The bill becomes a law after the governor signs the bill. However, the governor can also send it back to the legislature with some suggestions. The governor might also reserve the bill for the consideration of the president. Money bills. A money bill can be introduced in the Vidhan Sabha only. After the bill is passed, it is sent to the Vidhan Parishad for recommendations. After the bill has been passed by both houses, it is sent to the governor for his or her